Welcome back. In today's video, we are still camping amongst the cacti in Arizona. We will be battling against the heat, as well as some unexpected visitors and some local wildlife come and stop by our campsite. The days were beginning to heat up now, and with little to no shade, Tarah decided to put out the awning to give us just a little bit more time under the shade, and hopefully protect us from the sun and the heat. But even the awning wasn't enough for Stella. She wanted nothing to do with this heat or the sun. She much preferred to be in the boler inside her kennel, where she thought it was just a little bit cooler. Tarah, however, was huddled in the shade of the awning, working hard to complete her knitted pair of socks. You know someone's a true avid knitter when they're doing everything in their power to avoid the sun and the heat, but are still working on a pair of socks to keep warm with. I was going to try and make a video today, but it's just getting way too hot out. Trying to touch the laptop, it's starting to get too hot. Worried about external hard drives. It's just not worth it to fry the computer here, because I've lost all my shade on the other side of the boulder here, and I don't want to fry all the electronics, so we're gonna have to pack it up and continue on later on. It may have been too hot out to work on editing a new video with a laptop and hard drive. However, it was not too hot to get the drone out. So when I heard what sounded like horses off in the distance, I had to get the drone up and take a look, and I'm so glad that I did. However, horses were not the only animal we spotted from our campsite. Even though we were parked on state trust land, the state of Arizona is considered an open range or free range state, which, if I understand it correctly, simply means it's the landowner's responsibility to fence the cows out of their property, not the cow owner's responsibility to keep their cows fenced in. As such, a lot of this state trust land also becomes roaming land for these cattle. We didn't mind so much. It was actually quite neat to see this cattle roaming through our campsite and in the Arizona cactus desert scenery. Our cat Bennie, however, he's not such a fan of livestock and cows. He wanted nothing to do with it. He would rather be back in the boler. Our dog Stella, however, well, she thinks she was a border collie in another life, and it's her job, personally, to round up the cows. So we kept her on a short leash. But I would say, all in all, the cows and the horses and the other wildlife yet to be seen was definitely a highlight of being in this spot. As Tarah had completed her knitted socks earlier in the day, she now had the fun task of figuring out what next. How do you even begin to choose? It'd be a pretty wild pair of socks, wouldn't it? It would be. As the heat of the day began to cool off and the sun began to set, the quail came out to cool off and have a little dust bath in the middle of the road. Bye.